parkway in my automobile, trying to get back to my pappy's corn liquor steal. Soon as I crossed that Buncombe County line, something in the air blew my podcast up high. It was the wisdom from the chicks in the city sticks, and I knew right then it was gonna be my fix. No need for white lightning to get my start. It's hey Lord, have mercy, Hannah, bless your heart. Wardy, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. Wardy, come and listen to see weird mountain gals on the Wardy. Up on Weird Mountain, they've been getting their kicks, jamming on the porch just to hit and mash. Stirring up the pot, that's what they do best. They can dish it out till there ain't none left. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. No, it's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, so come and listen to see Weird Mountain Gals on W-Y-R-D. Well, I finally found my pappy's corn liquor steal. Filled up the jug and had to hit the trail. Gotta get back to the cottage in the Mashville woods, to the Weird Mountain Gals neighborhood. W-Y-R-D, yeah, you know what I mean. It's not strange, take it from me. W-Y-R-D, come and listen and see Weird Mountain Gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on W-Y-R-D. It's them Weird Mountain Gals on W-Y-R-D.
Do you consider yourself normal? Then this is not the show for you. Please go somewhere else. This is WYRD. If it's getting weird, it's got to be the Weird Mountain Gals show. You're listening to Byron and Alicia, the Weird Mountain Gals.
I never thought I'd be happy to hear that voice.
Ta-da! Recording in progress. Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you
yes.
very much.
And so I'm going to
great.
remember that we heard that very clearly. And then from when I hear the recording, it's going to not sound like anything, I'll bet you.
Isn't that interesting?
It's yeah, it's another thing that reminds me how out of control I really am.
Uh-huh. Well,
So-
I mean, listen up, my phone, my Meta, which is Messenger,
Uh-huh.
is still in Arabic. I think it's Arabic anyway.
What?
I don't know, it's one of those kind of flowy scripts. It's been like that since a few days after the summer solstice.
Oh,
I can't get the language changed back. I've tried everything. I even talked to Meta AI about it.
oh.
And they said, oh, you do, it's easy, do this, blah, blah, blah. Oh, wait, here's a video, do this, blah, blah, blah. I've done all of that. This morning, I went over to my, the company that I'm with,
Yeah.
and I said, look, I got this problem. My messenger is in Arabic. And the guy looked at me and he went, no, seriously? And I said, yeah. And he said, do you read Arabic? No. Do you speak Arabic? And I went, no, that's the problem. So he futzed around with it, I know, half an hour, trying to get it back and, get back to factory standard or whatever. And finally, he just gave up. Then he said to me, the funniest thing I've heard in a long time. And he said, well, what you're going to have to do is call Facebook.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I looked at him and I said, call Facebook? Are you serious? He said, you just need to call up their support line. I said, there ain't a number for Facebook, buddy. I don't know where you work here at this fancy phone shop, but no. So I guess the thing I'm going to do with it is take it to, I've got a tech contract with Best Buy. When I get back from my trip,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll just take the phone out to them and go, I don't know how this happened, but I can't undo it.
And
And see
this
if they can
is,
fix it.
you've got the Google phone, I think.
I've got an
And
Android, standard old Android,
Android.
Samsung.
Yeah. So it's not like if that's a known issue, that should be something that can be fixed. And I'm sure that, don't laugh, okay, but I'm sure that they've already rebooted it several times, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
And
I
it-
mean,
and-
I wouldn't laugh about that because
Yeah.
I mean that's a pretty standard thing. I rebooted it. They rebooted it. Uh, I've tried every setting on the phone. They go, well, just go to this page and look for the gear, and that is the icon for settings. And I'm like, yes, I am aware. Thank you. And then go down to language and choose English. And I have done that on every possible permutation of settings on this phone, and said I wanted in English, and it still is in Arabic. So it's going to take smarter brains than either me or the young man at T-Mobile have to fix this problem.
Well, I'm looking right now to see if it's if this is a known issue with your phone. I do see a lot. I would almost say this is probably a known issue.
Well, that'd be good.
So the thing is the guys at Best Buy are hopefully they're going to be smarter about that situation than maybe the phone guy, because this is not just a phone issue. This is an issue with two different operating systems.
Yes, exactly.
And-
It's an operating system problem.
Yeah. So, and it is, yeah, I'm looking. Wow. Now, most people don't call it Arabic. They just say foreign language.
Well, I mean, I don't know what the foreign language is, but it has that same kind of flowing script
Yeah.
that
Well,
Arabic does.
I'm just the only reason I said that, told you that, was when you're talking to your guy at Best Buy, tell him that
Uh-huh.
that the search that your nerdy friend did to find out about it said, Android FB Messenger in foreign language, and that's how I searched for it. And I found Stack Overflow has got just all kinds of stuff about it. The Apple community has got all kinds of stuff about it. So yeah. And then if all else fails, me and you can hang out and I'll see if I can take a look at it. Sometimes I
Okay.
have good luck with that stuff.
Okay.
You know,
That
what
sounds good.
yeah, that's called the, I forget, the halo effect. Yeah, the halo effect. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
more, to me, it's more mystery, magic, and luck. But I get lucky. So I want to find out all about your travels coming up, but I did want to tell you that I had a dream about me and you.
Oh boy, were we on a road trip?
We were on a road trip, yes, and we were trying to decide what venue we wanted to play, because evidently we had been invited to two different things on the same night, and it was up to us as to which thing we could do. We could either have like a back and forth comedy thing, like every time we talk to each other, or we could teach some Appalachian stuff. And we were in a car and we were driving towards Tennessee. I guess, just like we did when we were going to Chattanooga that time. And I remember that we started seeing less and less buildings and just, general people and all of that. And, very few billboards. And then finally it got to the point where it was all countryside. And the only billboards we saw looked like they were what I would call vintage to you and I. So it'd be like, where will you be when you die? Heaven or hell? Those kind of things that they used to have around here. So there you go. That's it. That's all I remember of the dream. I have no idea what it means. So, but if I remember one, that usually means I'm supposed to tell the person.
I love that. That's very cool.
It seemed like it was a really good dream. We were cutting up and laughing in the dream. So, and we were really looking forward to whatever it was in this town that we were headed to. So, yay for us.
Huh.
Yep.
Well, good for us.
Yep, good for us. So, all right, enough of that. Tell me about your trip. What do you still need to do to get going? Are you finished?
Well, today I did. Oh, well, all right. Y'all know how I am, so this is just how I am. So last night I didn't sleep well because there was something bugging me and I couldn't figure out what it was. So I was telling myself things like, well, why? I mean, you're flying out of Greenville, which is a lovely airport. It's easy to get along in. It's not a bad drive down there. So that's not it. You are not flying through Charlotte, which is always a problematic airport. We are leaving Greenville, Spartanburg, flying up to Philly. I like the airport in Philly. Never had trouble there. I mean, and I kept thinking, well, it's just that flying is so hard now and it's so problematic. Then I'm thinking, well, and then you got to deal with trains, and I don't do a lot with public transportation because of where I live. So, and I thought, well, maybe that's just making you nervous, but there's no reason to be nervous. You get along fine once you get used to it.
What
Then I
train are you
realized,
riding?
What train?
Yeah.
Well, how the hell do I know?
Oh, I mean, you said public transportation, and you mentioned trains, and I was thinking, well, I know Philly has got a train system there.
Oh, no. We're taking the train from Heathrow Airport to Bath.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why I can't, that's why when you said what train is like, how the hell do I know? I don't know. I just look to see where it's going and what track it's on, and then I'm there. That's all I know. Sorry.
You will be fine at that leg of the journey.
Yeah, no, it's a matter of just kind of reacclimating myself to all of those things. But here's what I found out. And y'all, I totally shared this in our pre-show. What I discovered the problem was in my little pea brain was that I was going to be taking a backpack with me. I was going to have all my stuff in a backpack and in my suitcase that I'm bringing, that I'm not going to check any luggage, so I'll have that with me. And here's what it was. It was the thought of having all my valuables, including my little bitty purse and all that, on my back instead of under my arm, which is where I normally carry it in a bag. So I woke up this morning and went, well, just get a bag with a zipper on the top and use that instead of a backpack. If you don't have a backpack, what's wrong with you? And it's not like I went out and bought a special expensive backpack. I got it at the thrift store for $1.
Yeah.
So it ain't like, oh, but I spent so much money on that, blah. So that was me just being crazy. So I got up and I knew exactly what bag I wanted to use. It's an green canvas bag with a little zip pocket in the front and a snap on the top. And I love it. And it doesn't look new and shiny. It looks like something that has traveled a long way with me, which it has. And I just moved everything from that backpack into that green bag. And I went, oh, and I put it on my shoulder and went, oh, no, that's what I want.
I totally get that. The thing that makes travel successful, especially if you're not, well, just period, the thing that makes travel successful for me anyway is being organized enough to be able to remember where my stuff is
Yep.
so that I
Yep.
just can reach for my stuff and have a chance that it's there. And
Yep.
that's what you're doing. And plus, when you've got something on your back and it's really important to you, you can't see it. It's just
I
on your
know.
back.
I did,
Yeah.
and I couldn't stand the idea of it.
Right. So
Yeah.
you want to make sure to protect the things that are important to you while you're traveling. I totally get that.
Well, and it was also a matter of when you take a backpack off, you got 2 straps that have to come off.
Yep.
And then you got to swing it around to
Mm,
get into it. And if I've got a bag that's over one shoulder and under my arm, I don't even have to take it off my shoulder. I just move it forward and reach
Right.
in, and I got what I need.
exactly.
So,
Yeah. No.
so that's what it was. And now I feel like, and so today I did the thing I always do, which is the final step. And I took out my passport and put it where I wanted it to be. So, I mean,
I
I
saw
literally,
that.
yeah, I
You-
literally could leave right now,
Yeah.
except I have to pack my big old Jethro Bodine lunch.
What's in what do you think that's going to be?
Oh, it's going to be a little bag with some cookies in it. It's going to be a little baggie with some grapes in it, and a little sandwich. And that's probably all.
That's good though. It's not Jethro Bodine size, but
Well,
that's
yeah, if I was checking a bag, I'd make it bigger,
yeah.
but I'm not, and I don't want to have to deal with it. And I don't want to have extra food left over when I get to wherever I'm going and go, oh,
Yeah.
well,
You're
I
smart.
sure do wish I didn't have that extra bologna sandwich in here that I'm going to have to eat when I'm looking around at all this good food that I'd rather eat. So
Yeah.
it'll be
When I
fine.
could have some bangers and mash.
Yes, exactly. Real fish and chips with real
Yes.
fish and real
Yes.
chips. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
It's all fine. It's going to be very good, and I'm going to have a great deal of fun. I'm going to a city. It's kind of like what happened with Cleveland. I
yeah.
had sworn I would never go back to Cleveland. I hate that damn town. And then I went, I had a lovely time, wonderful time. So that was the Cleveland Reclamation. So
Oh.
for this, it's going to be the city of Bath.
Ah.
I've been to Bath 3 times,
Oh.
and every time it has been stuffy and pretentious, and the weather's not been good. I mean, it's just been one thing after another. And I always go to the Roman baths and do a little ritual, and I go see Sulis Minerva and all that stuff that pagans do. Sally Lunn, we went to Sally Lunn one time, and I saw an old boyfriend from 1979. Anyway, but it's just never been, when people say, oh, hey, you really should go to Bath. I'm like, been there, done that. So we're going to Bath. We're going to Bath. And I got us a good hotel and a good rate, not too far from the train station. And
Awesome.
and I'm gonna fall in love with Bath again. I'm gonna fall in love with it and not be like, oh God, oh, not Bath, no, not Bath. So yeah,
That sounds great. Well,
it's gonna be great.
Let me ask you a question. When you are traveling, you go from, I live in Appalachia and this is a food, to, hey, I'm in a whole different country. Now I know you've been in Europe enough to be very familiar with what they eat, but how does your stomach do with what they eat? Do you have any trouble kind of acclimating to the different kind of food, or can you always find something that works?
Well, I mean, I just eat kind of the same things. British food is not unlike Appalachian food, really.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to get beans and cornbread, but
I'll get beans on toast.
Yeah, there's going to be bread, and I'll avoid that as much as I can. And there's going to be peas and rice and, a lot of stuff that I don't eat that I will try not to eat.
Yeah.
But it's not like going, like if you went to Asia, where the food is very, very different. But I mean, the food in Britain it's not so different. I will save some carbohydrates to eat some Cornish pasties.
Oh,
And yeah, and
wow.
I will be. I'm already delighted at the thought of getting to drink good beer.
Oh, wow.
Says the woman who is sitting in the middle of Beer City. But I'm going to have to leave the damn country to get a decent beer.
That's so interesting that you say that. I've heard other people say similar things that they just really prefer the beer in Europe, and I think some of it has to do with the Europeans are feel very free to not necessarily have all their beer ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Amen.
understand because beer is part of they not just a special occasion thing, but for a lot of people in Europe, alcohol, some sort of wine or beer is with most every meal, as far as I know. Maybe not
Oh yeah.
breakfast, and
Oh yeah.
so because of that, they have this understanding of beer and how it works with their bodies and stuff. And I have heard several people say the same thing. And I don't know anything about beer. I'm the last person in the world to talk about beer. So, compared to all the folks around here that have these giant degrees in it, I know a person, or I did know, I haven't seen him since COVID, but he had won a very prestigious craft beer award, and they've actually sent him to Europe to pick up the award. And there's a big ceremony and stuff. And he's just one guy around Asheville. They just they're everywhere, beer connoisseurs. I was out with a
Yeah.
I was out with a friend the other night, and we were just driving around looking at some big industrial parks and some places that I didn't even realize they existed in West Asheville. Big giant industrial park, and it's only a couple of miles from from everything basically. Anyway, two of them were beer facilities. One of them was the Highland Brewing, like a warehouse,
Uh-huh.
and the other one was Wicked Weed. And in my mind, Wicked Weed is just this little place in Asheville that has three tanks, that brew
Well,
tanks.
but Wicked Weed was bought by Anheuser-Busch.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
See,
I mean, I seem to remember that. So
yeah,
if I'm wrong, somebody will let us know.
yeah. Well, back to the subject. I think if I was you, I'd really look forward to that too. Do you have a particular beer that you really like?
Um, there's a beer called Tennant that I
Tennant.
really like, and what I mostly like is whatever the local ale is, if they have a local ale. That's what I'm going to want to try. I mean, Guinness is always my fallback, but that's an Irish beer, and if you're in England, you ought to drink English beer, and there are a bunch of really good English beers. Yeah.
Is
So,
there a pub that you look forward to going back to?
oh gosh, well, that's a really good question. Um, no, not particularly, because yeah, I mean, some of the pubs that I really love are in London, and I'm not spending any time there really. I hope. I hope I
Yeah.
don't break. I hope I don't break the airport again.
Yeah, that would be nice.
So, I'm gonna want a real pub rather than a gastro pub.
Yeah,
And the gastro pubs are, I guess, still pretty big. I like to have a local. That's my local.
very,
And
very.
yeah.
Very.
And and because
So,
it doesn't take you more than a couple of times to go into a pub before the landlord, whoever's at the bar, knows you and goes, "Ah, you back for more, huh?" Yes, I am. Give me a pint of that.
I
There's a wonderful pub restaurant in Edinburgh called the Scotty, and I
okay.
loved that place. And it took them two visits. On the second visit, they were like, "Now, do you want to have that?" They did the haggis balls with a whiskey
Oh,
gravy, and
oh,
it was so good. And they said, "So should we just set you up with that to start?" And I was like, Hell yeah, bring it on.
Whiskey gravy.
Yeah, I mean it's like a brown cream gravy with whiskey flavor.
A
Oh, it
haggis
was really
ball?
good. Pardon?
Haggis ball? I mean,
Yeah, there were.
I understand what haggis is, but I don't know what a haggis ball is.
Well, it's the interior of haggis rolled into a ball and breaded and fried. They were
Um,
about the size of a golf ball, maybe a little bit smaller. And they
okay.
were served in a beautiful little ceramic boat with this gravy on it. Oh, so good.
Wow. Well, okay, so don't laugh. I may have already told you this, confessed it, but as I go from place to place on YouTube on during the nights when I can't sleep sometimes, I'll find these different my latest thing is video showing British school kids trying American food for the first time.
Oh, I've seen some of those.
It's hilarious, but it's really fascinating too. And then they'll do it the other way around. They'll have Americans eating British food like beans on or European food. And that's pretty funny too. But it leads me to another question that I've wondered when you travel, and I've always forgot to ask. And that is, do you ever have conversations with folks across the pond about their opinions of Americans?
Well, yes, but I never initiate them.
Oh,
Yeah, no, since I'm just sorry, I went into the Wayback Machine traveling to Ireland with my daughter and a couple of friends when she was six, I think, 6 or 7. And uh, and our landlady was talking about President Bush,
oh,
and saying you're not going to reelect him, are you? Because he's awful. All the way up to last year in Edinburgh and last year in Scotland, when the he was such a sweet little fella, and he was one of the bar people at our hotel. He was all about Trump. Oh my God, he loved
oh.
Trump. He just thought Trump was hilarious, and yeah, he was all about Trump. And Annie
But
and
he
I were
didn't
like,
take him seriously, right?
well,
Or
Annie and I started saying, let me tell you what this guy is and did. And we unconverted him from Trump, or at least he said we did. So we're like, I know you think he's funny, but he's not. It's not a laughing matter to us because we're gonna have to live with him.
it's to me, I'm ashamed about it, but
Yeah.
because well, we don't even need to go there, do we?
No,
I
we're
mean,
just gonna. Yeah, I told this joke to 2 different people yesterday, and I'm gonna clean it up a little bit. Well, I'll tell it to the weirdlings for real before the election. But so, fellow was on an airplane, and the woman came up and said, "So what do you want for dinner? We've got chicken with vegetables, and we've got a great big cow patty full of broken glass." And the
oh,
feller said, and the feller says, "Well, how's the chicken cooked?" And that's kind of where we are right now, politically speaking.
oh,
And
that's so awful and true,
I know,
man.
isn't it funny though?
Yeah, yeah. I say it's like funny, sad. Is there a word for that in English? Funny and sad.
I don't know, but there ought to be.
Yeah, that's what it feels
Funny.
like
It's
to me.
funny, sad.
Yeah. So I watched some clips of late night like yesterday because they have all been on vacation evidently, and they all came back on the same day.
Oh,
And so I thought, well, this ought to be good. And it wasn't. So
oh,
I generally love watching it because it's comedy to me, but it's also funny, sad,
yeah, yeah.
at the same time anyway. So I guess that if there's a place in Europe that is your favorite place, would it be Cornwall or
You know that I got to tell you, that's really hard because as soon as you said that, 5 or 6 different places bounced off my head. I used to love London and I lived there briefly after college. Loved
Okay.
it, loved it. But that was 1979. And
Yeah.
London's not what it was then. It's very different. The feeling is different about it.
Mm.
So I'm not as in love with London as I once was. I love Yorkshire, and part of my father's family are from Yorkshire, so there's something about them big naked hills and all the sheep and all the cattle and all of that I just love. There's a little town up in there called Todmorden it's just has a little hold on my heart. I
Oh.
love Scotland. I love the borderlands between England and Scotland. I love a little town called Carlisle that had a couple of terrible floods within fairly recent memory. I love Ireland. I love the Republic of Ireland. I love the North, though I've not spent a whole lot of time in the North. And I
Mm.
love Cornwall. The place that I want to spend more time, 2 different places that I haven't spent time in and I want to. One of them is Wales. And
Oh, well.
I don't know how it is I've never spent time in Wales, but I also am aware that as far as I know, none of my family is Welsh. So I'm not of Welsh extraction, I guess they say. But there's so much about it that's just marvelous and amazing. And I want to spend time down on the coast in around Devon, in what they call the Jurassic Coast. And I was going to do that this time, and I changed my mind about it. So there's so many places in Britain that I love, Britain and Ireland, and places I often go back to just because I love them so much.
Mm. Is
Yeah.
there a place that just kind of hits you in the gut spiritually?
Well, I mean, they all do spiritually. Avebury is very important to me. In fact, that new book, Feral Church, ends at Avebury, at Silbury Hill, which is, well, I think I told you all about it a few years ago. God.
Well, you
Uh,
can re-enlighten if
it,
you want.
well, it was 2016, the end of 2015. I had this weird thing. Silbury Hill is a man-made, a human constructed hill, and it's in part of the Avebury complex. And I was like that guy in um, Close Encounters that went crazy, and he was like making Devil's Mountain and mashed potatoes and like
Yeah.
digging up his yard. And I got like that with Silbury Hill, and they're kind of the same shape actually. I mean, it's a hill. It's a hill. And
Oh, well.
I would doodle it, like do little sketches of it, and I thought about it, I read about it, I got a bunch of books about it. I was just obsessed with Silbury Hill.
Wow.
And I felt like I was being drawn there. So in 2016, I went with a friend of mine, and she was like, "No, I'm not walking all the way over there. I'm gonna stay at the pub and have a pint and some lunch. You gotta do what you have to do." So I went there. You can, the best place to observe it is to walk down that long avenue at Avebury and then go up this little hill that is a
Yeah.
cow pasture. It's a cow pasture. So if it's a certain part of the day, the cows are going to be in the pasture, and they're going to come walking over to you like, have you got any food? Because we're cows and we'd love for you to give us some. And
We're into that.
they're cows. They're not bulls. So, you kind of wave your hand, they go away. So I'm trudging up this hill. And I've built this up so big in my mind. And you have to get to the top of the hill to a certain point to see Silbury Hill. So I'm trudging up, talking to the cows, playing with the cows. I tie some clooties on the little clootie tree. Then I
Yeah.
get to the top of the hill, and there it is. And it was like, I mean, it was like being struck by lightning. And I to this day, I still don't know what it was all about.
Wow.
But I knew that I had to be there, and I got there, and it was all good.
Wow.
But
That's neat.
that was pretty wild. That was 8 years ago.
Oh,
Golly.
that's and
So
I cannot believe how fast times has sped up for me. Anyway,
does it feel like that?
it does, and it really hit me not too long ago. Actually, and to yesterday, it
Oh,
did.
say more.
Well, one second I woke up, and the next second it was time to go to bed, and I mean, it seemed like it took about an hour for the day to go by.
Really?
Yeah, it was crazy. And because I know better. I know it wasn't really like that, but it really did. And yeah, I got a few things accomplished in this, but it just didn't seem like any time had gone by. And it was weird.
That is weird.
It's had it being 2024 has had some really strange moments for me. How about for you?
God, yeah. Um, um, my buddy Crystal, and if she's listening, hey Crystal.
Hey, Crystal.
She sent me a picture last night of the sky from her land, and what that looked like. And she said, "What do you think?" And it was very, very unusual. And something I've been doing for a number of years, I don't know how many, is that I try every day to either sing the sun up or sing the sun down. So I sing to the land. And
Okay.
I realized I have not done that since before I left for that Cleveland trip, that Ohio trip.
Oh, wow.
That Well, I got home and got home to 90-degree weather, and I go out early in the morning, I water everything, and then I come in and turn on the ceiling fan. So
I water stuff at night. So we're the
I,
opposite. Not that I have
I
much to
no,
water.
I do both.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah, because I got cucumbers and tomatoes, and they got to be watered twice.
Oh, wow.
Because
So,
once,
well, this
yeah,
weather has been insane.
it's
You
been
brought
awful.
man, this is mad dog weather. And
Well,
I
I
don't
mean,
mind.
we're in the dog days.
Yeah, yeah. We used to call it mad dog weather.
Yeah,
Because it's
yeah,
enough to just drive you insane. Anyway,
drives you crazy if you let it.
I'm not, I'm not a flower, about a lot of things, but I cannot handle the heat. I
No,
just,
me either.
uh, it will get me. I told you about the last show we did. It was the first super hot day of the year, and where we were, the sun was coming right on our faces. Oh man. We were snowflakes that day for sure.
I mean, that's just common sense.
Yeah, yeah, I think so too. Well, and the weather is showing every sign that we're going to have a really intense summer. Would you got storms and the water's already way warmer than I would think that it usually is. And that's what churns up those big giant storms.
Well, that big ass barrel that came through,
Ooh,
she
I mean,
she
yeah.
caused enough damage, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, we still have you look in about 8 or 9 days. Well, no, you'll be busy somewhere else,
Yeah.
but in 8 or 9 days, I expect we're going to have some super hot weather here. And I think it'll be hot leading up to it as well. But who knows? I mean, we're not suffering like they are out west. I worry
No.
about some of the weirdlings and the folks that I know that are out west because of
And
the
up
extreme.
north.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're
I
right.
mean, Maryland's hot as a firecracker.
Mhm. I was talking to Queen of the Weirdlings
Mm-hmm.
the other day, and
Hey,
she said,
Elsa.
"Hey, Ilsa," and she said that one evening they had something like 67 or 68 tornado notifications around them.
And that's terrible.
That's something I can't imagine. I wouldn't want to
No,
be there for that. That would be
no, me either.
So I forgot to ask her how her animals acted.
Oh, that'd be a good thing to know.
Yeah, yeah. So that's been another thing that I've been looking at in these late night research hours. I consider it. It's just, I've learned that, yeah, I have a better chance of falling asleep if I can get my mind on something that is boring. Okay, so I'll name items in the grocery store alphabetically.
Hmm.
And that's you have to kind of keep your mind on it to do it, but it's not hard to do. So if I can make it through the A's, then I'm probably up for the night, because there's
Oh,
hundreds of A's. Sometimes I'll just pick a department, like, okay, I'm going to do this in the deli. All right, I'm doing this in the fruits and vegetable department. And if I make it up I can make it up to about the F or higher in those. But it's been just a crazy journey having this insomnia, because I've watched more YouTube stuff than I have ever watched in my life. And part of me is like, well, I'm well entertained, but but it's a lot of fluff, and there is a lot of misinformation, and
oh God, and a whole lot of stupid. Whole lot
well
of stupid.
and there's a whole lot of things that AI has created and put out
Yeah.
there. And
Yep.
I'm guilty of watching some of them. There'll be these compilations of bizarre weather events, or amazing nature photography or something like that. And there'll be a 15-minute video that has some beautiful footage, and it'll tell you what you're looking at. Yeah, I'm guilty of that one too. So, but then I'm also guilty of pure fluff. I should be embarrassed to even admit what I watch, sometimes.
I am in love with, I'm just going to say it like that because I'll get tired of him. I know. There is he is a Malaysian comic who plays a character called Uncle, shoot, Uncle Rob. Let's say Uncle Rob. And he does a critique of these cooking shows. And it'll be like Jamie Oliver making shrimp fried rice. And
Okay.
this guy, he is hilarious because it's like a split screen. And they go, no, no, don't use soy sauce there. No, oh no, why are you using olive oil? That's white people oil. And he's so funny.
Oh, well, that's interesting guy. And I'm trying to look him up right now and not seeing him. But he'll
Um,
be there. I'll find him. I'll find
I've got
him.
the name wrong. It's Uncle something.
Yeah, I'll find him.
Uncle, and he's a Malaysian comedian.
Okay. Yeah, I'll find him and put a link there. I've been occasionally watching someone called Drew Lynch. Are you familiar with him?
No.
I guess he got on the scene as a young teenager, 12, 13-year old, or maybe even younger than that. And he had a very bad stutter. He had had an accident where at a ball game, somebody threw a ball on his throat, and took some damage, and he had a stutter, and it was pretty bad. So he got up
Oh,
on stage and just basically started making all these jokes about stuttering. Just self-depreciating humor, but not really, but yeah, sort of kind of thing. And
yeah.
very dry. And it was interesting. And then next thing you see him, and he's older. I guess he's in his late 20s now, and his hair has changed, and his stutter's dramatically improved, and his humor is a little bit sharper and much more adult. You know,
Oh,
yeah, and he's kind of funny. He's kind of funny. He's married to a wife with ADHD. And so he tells this story about how he had had a really tough day when he came home, and he's prone to stutter when he's stressed out. So his wife, who has ADHD, had asked him how his day was, and he said he was trying to tell her, I'm stressed, but it was coming out, I'm stuck, I'm stuck, stuck, stuck. And he did that a few times, and he said, and my wife started dancing to that, to the beat
Oh.
of it. It was like,
That sounds like a good match, doesn't it?
yeah. Well, I'm not doing the joke justice. He is hilarious. But I imagine he could offend a few people, but so what?
I'm harder to offend, I think, than I used to be. That guy's name is Uncle Roger. I just
Uncle
remembered it.
Roger, thank you.
Uncle Roger.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
He wears an orange polo shirt.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll check him out.
The other people, it tells you what we do all night, doesn't it? We watch videos.
Yeah.
The other couple I'm loving is an African American man and his German wife, and they have moved to Germany. And it's written out in German, but it's spoken in English and German. So it's helping me with my German is the reason I started watching it. But it's just comparing the two cultures, and it's really funny. And they're so good with each other and so sweet with each other.
Do you find that when you're traveling, people know the difference? They know about the Appalachian culture and have an opinion?
No, not at all.
They don't? You're just an American. Okay.
Not at all. In fact, I mentioned going to Carlisle. I often let Carlisle be my base when I'm researching the border reivers, because it's right in the corner of the border. And I had a woman there. She was in the post office, and I went in a couple of times to get stamps and whatever else I was doing at the post office. And she struck up one of us struck up a conversation. I don't remember. It might have been me. And she said, your accent is really interesting. Where are you from? Northern Ireland? And I went, well, I mean, back about 350, 400 years ago. Yes, sort of.
Well, you answered another question I was going to ask you, because I realized probably last night that I had assumed you had Irish ancestry and assumed that you maybe had some Scots in you as well, but I'd never actually asked. So
yes, I have Scots, and I have Irish, and I have Scots Irish, which is really Scots.
Okay.
Scots Irish has way more. If you looked at the DNA, people who are of Scots Irish descent are mostly Scottish. Mostly. So I'm Scots, and I'm Irish on another hunk of my family, and I'm Scots Irish on another hunk of my family, and then I'm English on about half of my family.
So is there a feeling of coming home when you go to these places?
Always. And it could be because I've been reading about these places since I was a kid. And I first visited these places in 1973. When I was 17 years old was the first time I left the country and went there. So it all feels it feels good, especially to get out of the cities, because I'm really not a city person. I mean, I love a museum as much as the next person, and I love to see some good theater. Not that I've seen good theater in a long time, but I really want to be out. I want to be in a village that has, 4 pubs and a Catholic church and a Church of England and a fish and chip shop. That's really the place I love to be. But I will say, the first time I went to Ireland, and I had flown into London, because it's just cheaper to fly into London than anywhere else. So I had flown into London and took the train across to the northern part of Wales, to Anglesey, where I got the ferry over to Ireland. And it was this catamaran ferry. It moved really fast. It was really a lot of fun. And I went out so I could watch watch Ireland coming up on the horizon.
Mhm.
And I cried going across the North Sea. I cried like a baby.
Wow. Wow.
So I don't know what that was, but it was pretty profound.
Get to feel the feelings. And
Yep.
it would be interesting, in my opinion, to be walking around in the place where humans walked around there for hundreds of years. And I know we have our native culture, and that is great, but they're not a direct. I'm not a direct descendant of them,
Right.
so I've never been to a place that has that feeling. Uh, I
Well,
guess
and
ancestors talk to you, don't they?
oh yeah, and the people look like me.
Oh
In
wow,
Britain, people look like me.
that's
They
cool.
got brown hair and blue and gray eyes and pale skin, and they look like me. And I see people that I think, oh, you could be my cousin, or you look like my cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna one of these days we're gonna just not even bother to travel. We're gonna sit just like Wally predicted. We're gonna just sit in a chair and have our giant room-sized screens around us, and we'll travel virtually with our AI profile that we've
God,
created.
that just turns my stomach. So when I took
It's
my phone in to try to get it fixed today, I allowed is how I had even talked to Meta AI, and they couldn't fix the problem.
uh,
But they,
well,
unlike this handsome young man, did not say to me, "Well, you just need to call Facebook and talk to their operating support." Oh, do I? Well, maybe you could look up that number for me.
did he dismiss you then after that? That's kind of
He just looked at me like you are old, so you use Facebook. Do
uh,
not assume that I know anything about that because I don't. Because I'm sure he's a Reddit, WhatsApp, whatever the hell else that stuff is that young people do that I don't know nothing about. TikTok. He does TikTok,
uh,
I'm sure.
sure, I'm sure. Well, I wouldn't care about that so much. Anyway, I just want your phone to get fixed.
Well,
Do-
I can almost figure it out. The thing that's frustrating is that I don't know what time people have sent a message. I can see
yeah.
who it is, and the message itself is in English, but
Oh,
it's just the operating part of Meta that's in some language, not English.
so if I need to get a hold of you, get a
You
message to you, just text your
use
phone,
no use Messenger. I can use
messenger.
Messenger.
Okay.
I can't read any of the instructions for
Okay.
Messenger, but by God, I've been using Messenger for a long, long time, so I can pretty much know what needs to be done.
Yeah,
I can figure it out.
that's just one of those crazy things. So, well, I wish you the best trip ever.
Hey,
I hope
thanks.
travel is just easy this time. I really
Let,
do.
let's hold on to that as a real thing. I would love that.
That's probably the worst part of the trip is the travel. And the rest of it, I hope you get to do everything. I hope the weather is good. That'd be
Well,
great.
it's cool. I mean, that's the part everybody's gonna hate me about. It's
Yeah.
cool. And a friend of mine just sent me a note saying she's in London right now, and she said, "Bring a sweater." And I was
Wow.
like, "A sweater? Oh my God, that sounds so wonderful. A sweater."
Yeah, it does.
And I won't bring a sweater, but I brought my good raincoat and I've got some long sleeve shirts, and so I'm gonna be fine. But yeah, bring a sweater.
Yeah. Those are magical words. Thank you for saying them.
Golly.
Yeah. I can't even imagine what that would feel like right now. It's been so warm for so long, or so hot is what I should say, for so
Yeah.
long. Yeah. I'm very, very, very lucky to not have to be out in it, because when I do go outside, which is not very often when it's this hot, and the reason for it is that the it just smacks me when I walk outside. It instantly, it's hard for me to breathe. Instantly.
What has been happening for me is that, oh, I get sweaty, and I'm in under the ceiling fan most of the time. I can't reach the one in the kitchen. I have to get up on a chair to turn it on, and it's very frustrating to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when Joe wanders through, I'll get him to do that for me. But so I'm actually okay until the end of the day, because the end of the day we end up in the living room watching some TV, and that room faces west, and it gets hot, hot, hot. And there's a little floor, a little fan that we have, and that does a pretty good job of cooling it off. But Joe doesn't like to have air blowing on him. So I sit there and I get hotter and hotter and hotter.
Man.
And it saps my energy
It
and
does.
destroys my will.
Yep.
So by the time it's 10 o'clock, and he will say, well, what do you want to watch now? And I go, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me, because I can't focus on anything except how hot I am.
Yeah.
And
well,
I'm sweating, and I'm there in an undershirt and loose pants. So, I've got on as little as I can reasonably have on. But yeah.
Wow. That's hard. That's really hard. I do live around fans. I love the
Yep.
sound of them. They'll
Me too.
sometimes a fan will put me to sleep, but
Yes.
I do love the sound of them. And I have them on. I'm one of those people who wants them on when I sleep. And some people can't stand that, and some people have to have it. I have to have it.
I love it.
I do too. And yeah, but your weather, hopefully, I'll be checking. See, I'll get on my weather app, and I'm going to be checking to see how it is out there where you are. So,
Well, I'm on my phone, which thank goodness that part is not in Arabic. I added in my weather app, I added Penzance, and right now it is about I don't know, I haven't calculated the time, but it's we're 5 hours time difference, and it's 61 degrees.
oh wow,
So it's evening, it's like 5. Oh, I guess we're 4 hours difference, maybe, because they're not on British summertime, but we're on summertime. I don't know. Anyway, it's 62, and it's going to go down tonight to 55.
wow. That's
Doesn't
about
that sound
perfect
lovely?
weather.
Except it's going to be raining. Rain, 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 rain.
Yeah, it's always going to be raining out there, don't you? I would expect it, I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
they have had some really awful lots of rain.
Have they?
Lots and lots of rain.
Mm,
They had a lot of heat, I think, last year.
yeah.
I know, but we're in trouble with
Yeah,
climate. We're in trouble.
I think we are. I think we are. But I'm still going to have my certain friends who are going to go, what climate change? That's
I
just a
know.
crazy idea that you folks are doing the blah, 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 blah. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I'm doing this to somehow control you.
Yeah.
What?
I know. It's not all a conspiracy. Humans are not that damn smart. So,
No,
that's
but
what
we
I
are
think.
we're plenty venal, and we're plenty greedy.
Yeah. But well, so I don't need to start making observation on our species either, because that'll also get me set off today. Because the heat, I can use that as my excuse. The heat.
And being old, I like
Oh
having
yeah,
2 excuses.
I love that
It's like
one.
I am almost 70 years old, and it's hotter than, well, I don't know, hotter than what? The devil's armpit.
Well, you said it nicely. We generally say hotter than Satan's. Um,
Ah,
and my grandma said hotter than blue blazes.
oh, that's
Hotter than blue
good. Hotter than
blazes.
blue blazes. That's a classic.
Yeah, and I'm thinking there was something about a match, but I can't quite remember it. We had a lot of sayings like that I didn't realize were not universal English American, standard American English sayings until I got a little older. There's a lot of when you got upset, you would say, "Damn the bear." What is that about? What is that all about? And I remember hearing shit fire. You,
And
you,
save matches.
yes, that was the one. That's
Yes.
it, shit fire and save matches. But yeah, so I thought everybody said those things who could, but evidently not. And well, I was taught that hush, you could say hush, if the situation called for it, but you couldn't say shut up. That was akin to a cuss word. That was just you never said shut up because that was rude and
Yeah.
crude. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a Southern thing or not. I guess I should let you go because we've been on this phone about an hour and a half.
No. Well, maybe we have. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, a little bit over an hour. And I've been killing everybody's ears with these long episodes and cutting them in half. And I think that's been okay. What do you think?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
When-
Definitely. This will be a kind of a normal one. You won't have to cut in half.
I hope not. I hope I don't. I'd rather do just one episode at a time. Well, I guess I should let you go. I want you to know
Well,
that everybody who is in your realm of people, they're all thinking about you for this trip.
so many people have sent me what I think of as traveling mercies,
Yeah.
and I'll take them all. I'm happy to, and I'm
Yeah.
also happy to let people live vicariously through
Yep.
me, go into a cooler place. And I mean, we're really planning to go to Stonehenge, Avebury, and then once we're down in Cornwall, we're going to be going to some pretty famous old monuments. So, and I'll be making lots of pictures and doing
Yay.
videos and all that.
Oh,
So,
that's awesome.
I will be in my usual place in social media,
Okay.
and we'll see what happens. I'm kind
Yeah.
of excited, except for the, being nervous about transportation part because
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that very well.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I just have to stay calm.
You've been
Take a
doing
deep
stuff like
breath.
that since you were 17.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
All right. Love you.
Love you. I'll check on your place if you need me to.
Oh yeah, if you would just go on by. I think the other yard man's gonna go mow at some point next week, but he's gonna wait to see if it cools down a little bit.
Okay. Well, I haven't been out there for so long. So yeah, and if anything comes up that you need help with, do not hesitate to find me and anything I can do.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, y'all. Thanks for listening.
Yeah.
Take care
Thank
of
you,
yourself.
everybody. Talk to you soon. Say bye. Hey, thank you for spending your time with us here at Wyrd Mountain Gals. We sure do appreciate it. I know time is the most important thing we have, so I promise that if you take your time to listen to us, we'll take our time to continue to be weird. Many thanks to Sunslice Records for all the help. We couldn't do it without you, Craig. Check out our social media for information, community, or a few laughs. WYRD Mountain Gals.
WYRD Radio.